Hi guys. So this video kind of started out as me trying to decide, or have a little bit of a rant really about the resolution of the game. Now, it's not that big of a deal to me in general. I am annoyed because I've spent a long time trying to figure out what resolution it runs in an Xbox One versus PlayStation 4. Now, it does matter to me, whether or not you think the resolution matters whatsoever. It does matter to me anyway, and it matters to me because I have both consoles and I have a PC. And if I'm going to get a completely stunted experience on the Xbox, then I would have rather picked it up on the PlayStation. Now, I've pretty much asked everywhere I could do. I've even directly asked Xbox if there's any kind of official word in it, and there's nothing. You just get completely stonewalled. They nothing mentioned. Even today, on the day of the release, people have had this for days. There's just nothing that I can find out or hear that told me about, am I getting a compromised version on the Xbox? Well, as far as I'm concerned, you are getting a compromised version on the Xbox. The graphics, the quality of the graphics, if we forget the resolution now, is decent. They look good. There's a lot of good effects in here. It's clearly a step above the old console versions of the Arkham games. Now, it doesn't look much better to me than the other PC game versions of it, but whatever. Obviously there's no physics and there's nothing fancy running on it. It's just a solid game, and it's got some nice little touches on it. Depth of field, the rain looks awesome. There's some cool lens flares. There's some light shafts, which, I mean, they're clearly dialed back on this version, but you can see them there as I fly up. What has annoyed me is the fact that I couldn't make an informed decision of it. So as far as I'm concerned, from looking at this game, now remember I haven't got any actual readouts or metrics or anything. It's definitely not running in 1080p on the Xbox. Look at the edges of this arm, especially where light comes in. It starts to really pick out these horrible jaggies. Everything in the distance, which I'll go and look on one of the buildings in a second, like everything in the distance, the fine detail is lost. So this is a 720p stream. Obviously, it's been uploaded and things, so it's not giving you the full impression. I'll show you some PC footage a bit later. That's got its own problems. It looks decent, but when you're sitting in front of quite a large television, all I can see is the edges and just the muddy overall presentation of it, and it's kind of mugging me off a little bit, because I know that I could have picked it up on the PlayStation version, which apparently is 1080p and should look a lot cleaner. As far as performance goes, though, the gameplay, it's absolutely fine. I've not had any choppiness that I can really notice to begin with anyway, and it plays alright. It just kind of takes me out of the experience. That sometimes the visuals are a little bit shocking, like the aliasing on the edge of the Batmobile there, and I'm not sure if there's some kind of dynamic frame buffer in play actually, because when I'm speeding around in the Batmobile, sometimes it just looks like a horrible mess. And I've seen some of the PC footage in a little bit. The Batmobile, when I'm cruising through the streets, is kicking up mud on the back of it. There's loads of rich detail. I don't know what settings they've got the Xbox or the PlayStation version at. I'd say they're not far off the ultra spec on the PC, to be fairly honest. It's just I can't really actually see any detail in this. Not only have we got this lower resolution and the pared back smoke, debris effects, light shafts possibly, but also everything's just so ridiculously black, which sounds like a stupid comment to make about a Batman game. I totally get that, but compared to the PC version of it, you're actually going to see so much more depth to the colour. Like everything on a certain scale of black on the Xbox seems to be the most black, and then everything above that seems to have its own kind of colour range, so you lose so much detail. There's also another little effect that I spotted, that for some reason on the coat in the dark sections just of Batman, there seems to just be some kind of weird dot effect on it that is absolutely not a big deal again, but the fact is it's just there, and I have literally no idea what that's about. Now here we jump over to the PC footage, which is about all that I actually managed to record, because the PC version likes to, I don't know what the word is other than not work at all. So my PC, running this absolutely fine, ultra. I did turn off the smoke effects just in case that was the thing that was slowing it down. You'll notice it runs at 30 frames a second. Yes, I know you can fix that on the PC, but for the time being I couldn't be bothered. I just wanted to see what it runs like. You can see that there's so much more detail in it, and this is a 1080p presentation. Again, I've recorded it in 720p just to make my life easier, just to get hold of the stream, and there's just so much sharper, and there's so little lost in the clarity of the picture, and this is only running at 1080p. Now, I haven't actually frozen this on the screen right here. The game has frozen this for me because it seems to like to crash every 5 or so minutes, and it's only been in the Batmobile section. So, I have no idea why it would do that or what that's about. But there it is. I can't get past the Batmobile section in it now. I'll wait for another patch before I even start to play it, and then I'll crank the physics back on and I'll have a look at it, how it should look. But that has turned into a rant now, and I didn't actually want it to be a rant. I just wanted to point out the fact that this game is not running in 1080p on the Xbox, and put that information out there so that you can at least find it somewhere on the internet at this point, because I couldn't, and I've ended up buying it on the Xbox, and it's not what I expected and it's not what I wanted. So that'll be going to whatever CEX or something tomorrow, and I'll get the PlayStation 4 version because it just looks a real mess. Right, sorry to develop into a rant there, but I thought it was worth saying. Cheers for watching, guys.